Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how I created a cool animation sign in and sign up form using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So for the reference, I have taken a screenshot of the image. So I'll be switching here and our index file so that I'll write the markup seeing this image. And this is my index.html file, and if I open it in my code editor, this is the index.html, this is my style.scss file, and this is my script.js file. So my style.scss gets converted into style.css and style.min.css. So for now I have included style.css here, and I have included the font awesome library here, and also included jquery and my custom script file here. Let's get started. So first let's analyze the image. First we'll have a container class. So I'm writing a div with a container class. Next, inside the container I'm going to have a form container div, and inside this I'm going to have a form div. So basically we are going to have two form divs inside the form container. Maybe this is for sign up or sign in. Maybe this is for sign in and this is for sign up. So basically what I'll be doing here is I'll write the markup for a first form, and I'll copy the code from here and paste it inside this form again, so that we'll have two forms inside the form container. So inside the form, let's begin here. First I'm going to write a form tag, set its action to null for now. So inside this, if we go to image, we have an icon here, font awesome icon, and we are having a heading here and a subheading, and after that we are having two input fields here. After that we are having a password and sign in button next to the sign up. So coming for the markup, so inside this we are going to have a class of form icon, where I'll be having a font awesome icon here. So we are done with an icon section. So we are done with this icon section. Later we'll be styling. For now this is the image, so we'll be styling it later. Next we are having a heading section here. So inside our markup I'm going to add a form heading div. So inside the form heading we are having a span.head. So we are having a main heading, say welcome, and we are having a subheading here. Maybe sign in to your account, some subheading message in. So we are completed with the form heading also. Next we are having the input section. So for that I'm going to add another div with the form body class. So inside the form body we are having two input elements. So to wrap the input elements, I'm going to use input group div, and inside the input group div I'm going to add input type equal to text, and I'll set the ID SIGN sign in underscore username. So this will be a username. So I'm adding a placeholder, say username. Next we are having another input group, and here we need to add password. So sign in underscore. The reason I am using here sign in, because the same HTML contains two forms. To make the IDs unique, I am just appending it with a sign in and sign up. So when I write for the sign up form, I will be writing sign up underscore password and sign up underscore email. so the IDs are unique. So inside the placeholder you need to write password here. Okay, so coming to our reference section, reference image. So inside the input we are having an icon. So inside the input group I'm going to add an icon i.fa.fa- user, so user icon, and similarly I'm going to add a password icon here. Sorry, not password, it is lock. Okay, if we look at the output of the index file, so this is for icon section. Next, this is for heading, and this is for the input. Next we are having a forgot password and sign in button here. So we need to write the form group. This is up to you, but for consistency I am using the form group, name as form group. So inside this form group we are having an anchor tag which refers to the hash and forgot password, and similarly we are having a button. So this type should be submit and sign in. Next, after the form group we need to add form footer. So inside the form footer we are just having an anchor tag. We should have a, since it is sign in, we need to add sign up. So if we have a look, this is what we have marked up here. Next we need to style these elements using the CSS. So let's do it. So I'm switching to style.scss file here. First we need to add a container div. So we are targeting the container here, container class. We will set the position to fixed and top to 0, bottom to 0, left to 0 and right to 0, and margin auto. We'll display it as flex and we'll justify the content to the center and we'll align the items to center again. Okay, when I click on save, you can see our content is centered in the page. Next we need to target the form container. So targeting the form container, let me add a border so that you people can see. So this is our form container. We'll set its height to 510 pixels and width to 400 pixels. Okay, so this is our form basically. So inside the form container, so inside the form container we are having a form. So for the form, first we'll add a padding, say 1 rem on top and bottom and left and right 2 pixels. Okay, so even for this I'm going to add a border 1 pixel, solid red. Okay, so this is empty because we are having this because we wrote a form section for the sign up. Later we'll be filling this. For now leave it. So this is our form. Next we'll add some border radius and we'll add the box shadow 0 pixel, 4 pixel, 10 pixel, RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.5. Okay, and we'll position them as absolute. Since we are positioning these elements as absolute, we need to position its parent as relative. So the parent here is the form container. We'll position this as relative. Okay, and we'll set the top to 0, bottom to 0, left to 0, and right to 0, and set the margin to auto. So when I click on save, you can see our form is filled up here. So it is taking complete height and width of the parent. Okay, so we need to apply some transform margin to bottom. So later when we animate, this will be helpful. So transform margin, using the transform margin bottom property, we are going to animate the form elements there. So inside the form class div, we are having a form tag. So I'm targeting the form tag. Please make it difference between this and this. This is directly a tag selector and this is a class selector, since I'm appending a dot in front of it. Okay, so we'll display it as flex, and we'll set the flex direction to column. Since we are inside the form, so we are making it display as flex. If I make it display as a row, you can see these elements are placed beside each other. So if I set to column, they are placed one below the other. That is the reason I am making its flex direction as column. Okay, next we need to add justify content to center and align items to center. Okay, these two properties we need to add in the form. So we'll justify the content to center and we'll align the items to center. Okay, save this. Next we need to start styling these elements now. So for the form icon, to make this clear, I am just targeting inside the form. I am commenting here for form icon. Okay, dot form icon. Next, so coming to the reference image, so this icon is placed in the center of the div. So to do that, what we can do is we'll display it as inline flex and we'll set its height to 6 rem and width to 6 rem. We'll set the font size to, because we are having a bigger icon here, so I'm setting its font size to some higher value, say 4 rems. Next we'll justify the content to the center and we'll align the items to center. So when I click on save, you can see the icon is here. Okay, next we need to give it a color, some red color. So for that I'm going to add a color variable here, SAS color variable. For the red color, hash F36071. So this is a red we are going to use, and for the white, hash FFF. Okay, so these two colors we are going to use in our form. So for the form icon, Next we need to add a border radius. If I place a border there, you can see it is square. So to get the rounded corners, we need to apply border radius for this element. Set the border radius property to some high value so that we get a circle there, perfect circle. Okay, so border radius 500 pixel, and since we are not going to use border, so to show the icon effect, I'm going to use a box shadow. 0 pixel, 0 pixel, 2 pixel, RGBA. Say we'll apply light border box shadow, light box shadow. So you can see light box shadow is here. Next, for the icon we need to add some color. So I'm using a color property and set its color to the red variable. Then I click on save. You can see this is what we got here. Okay, next our target is form heading. So we have completed this form icon. Next we need to target the form heading. So targeting the form heading, when we check the reference image, we have a gap between the icon and the heading section. So instead of adding a margin bottom to this icon, we can add directly margin to this heading section on top and bottom, so that we have space between the input elements and the heading section, as well as the icon and the heading section. Okay, instead of adding margins to multiple elements, we can add margin only to the center of the element, that is heading section there. So I'm adding the margin property, margin 1 rem on top and bottom, and setting it to auto. We'll display it as flex, and we'll set the flex direction to column. Okay, as you can see, the heading section is inside the form heading here. Okay, next we need to add a font size to this main heading. Before that, we want to center these elements. To do that, we need to apply align items center. Okay, align items center. Next we can add color property directly. So for the font color, I'm using darken color white 40%, so that we have a lightish gray effect here, gray text. Okay, next we need to target the main heading and subheading sections here. Because these two belongs to form heading, I'm just nesting inside this form heading here, main heading, and setting its font size to some higher value. And for the subheading, I'm setting the font size to 0.9 rems. You can see the welcome is bit font size is larger than compared to the subheading section here. So we are done with this, and we're done with this. Next we need to target the input elements here. Going to our reference copy, we need to target the input elements. Okay, so to do that, I'm commenting here again, targeting the form body. So this is what we are going to target next, form body. So form body, we'll set its padding to 1 rem and 2 rem. So when I click on save, you can see the padding is applied to this form body section. Next, we are targeting the input group. The input group is inside the form body, so we are targeting the input group here. We are adding a padding 0.2 rems and 1 rem, and we'll set the margin bottom to 1 rems. So when I click on save, you can see let me inspect here. So we are having a padding on left and right, and top and bottom slight padding, that is 0.2 rems, and we have added the margin bottom to 1 rem so that there is a gap between two input group elements here. Okay, next we'll display it as flex and position the element as relative, and we'll color the element white 40%. Okay, now let's see. Now next our target is to place this icon inside the input, and we need to style this input element here. Okay, I'm first targeting the input diet element. So we are going to remove the borders. Only border bottom should be present here. So I'm going to remove the borders for this input element. So border none, and so when we select this item, let me show you. So when I select this item, we are having a blue color border around this. This is not the border, this is an outline. So to remove this outline, we need to write an outline property set to 0. Okay, next when you click on this element, you won't be having that blue color border which is given by the browser by default. Okay, next we need to add border bottom. So border hyphen bottom 1 pixel, solid, darken, $white 40%. Okay, next we need to add font size, font hyphen size to 1 rem, and color to darken white 80%. Okay, next we'll set its width to 15 rems. And we'll set the background color. By default there will be a background color of white, so I'm making it as transparent. Okay, so we need to style even the placeholder. So and : placeholder color inherit. So inherit the color from the parent. So we have completed the input. Next our target is to place this icon inside this input element. So to do that, what we need to do is we need to position this font awesome icon element as absolute. Since its parent is positioned relative, so we face no issues positioning this element as absolute. So I'm targeting the i.fa. This is a class, font awesome class, and I'm writing a position as absolute. So writing this, places the icon inside the input. So we are having an issue here. If we type something, say our name, this icon hides our text, right? So to avoid this scenario, what we need to do is we need to add padding to the input element. So the padding here is padding left 1 rem. So adding padding 1 rem, what it does is places the icon inside the input where the padding is present. As you can see, inside the padding we are placing the font awesome icon, and our cursor does not go beyond this padding. Okay, this is a trick most of them use to place the icon inside the input elements. Okay, quickly we are going to add padding left 1 rem. Okay, as you can see, this is a complete input and icon is placed here. If we press backspace also, our text starts from here showing the icon. So since we have positioned this element as absolute, next we need to do some changes. So we'll set the bottom to 0 and top to 0, and we'll set its height to 1 rem and width to 0, margin auto, and we'll set the font size to 1 rem. So when I click on save, you may find no effect, but it should be done. That's it. Okay, so we are done with an input group. Next, our form body contains form group also. So just a second. Okay, so I'm moving this form group inside the form body here. Okay, so next we are targeting the form body. This we have done with the we are done with the input group here. Next, targeting the form group. So basically input group and form group are nested inside the form body. This is the input group, this is the form group, and similar structure we are following here in the SAS. So inside the form body we are having input group and form group. Okay, so for the form group, so when we go to the reference image, we are having a forgot password and sign in button here, and we are having some spacing on top. So to do that, first we'll display it as flex. Next we'll justify the content to space evenly and margin to 2 rem auto 0, and we'll align the items to center. So when I click on save, you can see the form group. So we have set the margin on top. That is the reason we are getting a spacing here, and we are aligning items to the center and making them as space evenly. So if I remove space evenly, they are just stick to each other, and when we add space between, they just take the space of the parent completely. So I'm using space evenly here. You can style like whatever you need, that's up to you. Next, so inside the form group we are having an anchor and a button. So targeting the anchor, so we don't want this underline here, so I remove the text decoration to none. Next we need to set the color. So darken, I'm using the as darken function, white 40%. Next we need to set the font size, so 0.8 rem. So on hover we need to show the effect. So for on hover on the anchor element, we are going to set the color to darken $white 80%. So when I click on save, you can see when I hover on the element, it gets little bit darker. Okay. Next we are having a button. So to style the button, first we need to remove the border and the background color, and we need to add some padding. Okay, so first we'll add some padding, 0.5 rem and 1.2 rem. Okay, adding the padding to this button makes it look like a big bold button than the regular one. So next we'll remove the border, so setting the border to none and border radius to 0 pixel, sorry, light rounded corners, so slightly rounded corners. Next, to add depth, we are adding a box shadow 0.5. Next we need to set the background color to red, and we'll add the color property to white. Okay, so when I click on save, you can see the button looks like this. Next we will change the text to uppercase, so text transform property, text transform uppercase. So even when we select this button, we are going to get a blue border here around that, so we'll remove that. Even set the outline to 0, and on hover of this button we'll set the background color to the darken color of the red. So initially it is red color, so we are making it darken by 10%. So when we hover on this, we'll get the darker color of the element. Okay, next we are done with the form section. So form body is completed. So coming out of the form body, next we need to style form footer. That is the last section here, form footer. So form footer, selecting the form footer, we'll display the element as flex, and we'll justify the content to space around and set the flex basis to 100% and also width to 100%, so it fills the complete parent width. So when I inspect this element, it is taking complete width of the parent. Next we need to set the margin on top and bottom 1 rem and left and right auto. Next we need to add the color, so darken $white 40%. Okay, next we are having only one element, that is anchor. So inside this form footer we are having only one element, that is anchor now. So we are setting the color of the anchor to darken, the color is white and the amount is 40%. Next we'll set the text decoration to none, and on hover we'll set the color to dark and white 80%. Okay, when I click on save, you can see it is styled now. The last step we need to do is we need to add some Google font. So I'm picking up the random Google font and assigning it here. Okay, I just copied a random Google font and I'm importing it here, and set the font family property to Poppins, sans serif. Okay, next inside the body, what we are going to do is we'll add the background color to the lighten color of the red, say 30%. Next the font family to font family and click on save. As you can see, next these input elements don't seem to get this font, so for the input even we need to add the font family property. So when I click on save, you can see the font family property is applied to all the elements. So we are done with the sign in form. So I'm going to duplicate this entire code and paste it inside this section. So when I click on save, both forms are stacked one upon each other. That is the reason you can see the bold letter here. Okay, to get the difference, I'm going to change it to sign up, and we are going to change this username to sign up underscore email, and setting this to email, and this is sign up underscore password. Okay, the last thing we need to do is adding animations and colors to these elements. So to target these forms individually, what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to add two classes here. So we are having the same form elements twice on this page. So to differentiate these two, I'm going to add a class, say gn sign in form, and this as sign up form. So right now we are having two forms here. Next we need to style these elements. Starting from the form container, now we are having two elements inside this, that is sign up form and sign in form. Okay, we'll set the background color of the sign up form to darken. The color I am going to use red and make it 20%. So when I click on save, so I need to save the HTML also. Let me check here. Sign up signup form, signup sign up. Sorry, I need to make it as capital F here. Okay, so we got the sign up form red color, and we don't have the sign in form any color now. Next we'll make them color as that is white and adding an important tag here. Then I click on save. Okay, sign up form. So inside the sign up form we are going to target some elements. Form icon, this is for a styling purpose. So form heading and input group and also the input element, and finally the anchor. So what we need to do is we need to add the color property $white important here. Okay, when I click on save, you can see all other text and all other elements just turn white. Next we need to add the border here for the input element, and okay, we are done with this. Next for the button, since button is in red color, I want to make it white. So button, we will set the background color to white, adding the important tag here, important important. Next we will set the text color to red. Basically we are just overriding the color properties here. So set the cursor to pointer, and on hover of this button we'll set the background color to dark and white 4%. Okay, now click on save. You can see so when I hover on this element, so I need to add important tags here. Just wait. Important. Okay, next we need to target the sign in form similarly. So targeting the sign in form, and so if we remove the background color, so sign in form should have a color now. So to add the white color, I am going to target the form class here. So inside the form I am going to add background color to be white. When I click on save, so if I remove sign up form color here, you can see it is white. Okay, next we need to add animation. To add animation, we are going to make use of a keyframes. So 2 keyframes we are going to make use of here. So at keyframes, say gn sign up. So when sign up form is active, this is what we are going to do. So we'll transform, we'll translate it to 0% initially and rotate the element to 0 degrees, and at 25% we'll apply translate text property to -100%, and rotate the element minus 60 degrees. And at 100% we'll animate the z index to 1. Okay. Next, similarly for sign in active, 0% to 100%. Next 25% and at 100%. So initially we'll apply the transform, translate to 0% and rotate the element 0 degrees, and we'll apply the transform here, translate x 100% and we'll rotate the element 60 degrees, and we'll set the z index property to 1 here. Okay. Next we need to work on some script file. So quickly jumping into the script.js. First document.ready. Since I have included the jQuery, I am writing document.ready here. So inside this function, inside the function what we are going to target is the sign in form. So we are going to target the sign in form on click of this trigger. So we haven't included the trigger. First we need to include the trigger. So this is the trigger here. The class trigger, and similarly should have a class of trigger. So when trigger dot on click of this function, we need to add some code here, and similarly we need to do with sign up form. Okay. So what we are going to do is, when I click on sign up form, we are going to target the when we click on sign in form trigger, then we are going to add active class to the sign up form, and we are going to run a set timeout function. It should be executed after certain amount of time, say 600 milliseconds. So what we need to do is we need to remove class from the sign in form. So we are going to remove the active class from the sign in form, and similarly when we click on this sign up form trigger, we are going to target the sign in form. Currently these active classes are not yet added in the SCSS. We will be adding that very soon, and running the set timeout function here as well, and say this executes for 100 milliseconds. Dot. So this animation completely can be done using JavaScript, but CSS animations are more robust than the JavaScript animations. That is the reason I am using pure CSS animations. I am adding and removing classes through JavaScript. Okay. So inside the style.scss, what we need to do is, when there is an active class on this element, we are going to play the animation sign in active 1 second is forwards. So similarly when sign up form is active and dot active, we'll play the animation. Sign up active 1 second is forwards. Let's give a try here. So when I click on this, as you can see, now we are having extra borders on these elements. So we'll remove these extra borders. So we have declared border here. Next, let me inspect the elements. Yeah, on form container we are having a border, so we'll get rid of that even. Now finally this is an output. So if I click on this, you can see sign in form is active, and when I click on sign up, the sign up form is active. So experiment with this. Sorry, I forgot to change the text here. So for the sign up, this should be sign in. Okay, and similarly this should be sign up and no forgot password for the sign up form. So this is basically sign in form. For the sign up, we shouldn't have a forgot password, and it should be sign up. Okay, it should be sign in. Okay, click on sign in form appears, and when I click on sign up, the sign up form appears. Okay, hope you enjoyed this video. Please do watch other videos on my channel. Take care. Bye.